Sampath, your quick comments on the shifting markets from a global context. And maybe you can touch specifically on the sales enablement side of
it. Sure, Kaushik. Thank you. I think lucky to go last, especially when we have an eminent panel like this, because I need not have to talk about the sales part of it, the customer part of it, because as Kaushik rightly mentioned, my functional experience has been predominantly in HR for the past 20 years. And in that 20 years, for the past 3 years, I've been playing a role as the head of global sales enablement, responsible for about 40 countries, sales force based out of Germany, currently in India because of the pandemic. Well, I'm also lucky to go last because a lot of aspects have already been covered. So what I will touch upon is purely on the human resources angle and how we have actually, because of the reasons stated by the eminent 4 panelists just before me, because of that, what did we do with our human resources? Because as we all agreed and rightly mentioned by the panelists, at the end of the day, if somebody can make a change to the current situation in which most of the companies are, because of no mistake of theirs, because of the pandemic, it is people. And we firmly believe it's not only sales, though sales has more control over revenue generation. It is the entire company which is responsible. So what we did, this was even before pandemic, we have a program called Sales Enablement Program. We call it as SEP. And that is the reason I was deputed to Germany to being responsible for the skilling aspect for our sales force. So what we took care in this is very similar to what our major panelists have mentioned about. For example, going digital. We, LAP, just for information, is a B2B company. We are a manufacturer of cables and related products. So though we all have been buying online for quite a few years now, but B2B business, online selling has not been so prevalent. But in the cable industry, at least, we were one of the pioneers. We started doing it a few years ago. So we had already started changing the mindset of our salespeople towards it. So that came in handy now. And as a part of our sales enablement program, we also spoke about some of the aspects which the research talks about. For example, we call these topics as death topics, which a salesperson, we try not to speak in the very beginning, like price, specifications. These, according to us, are death topics. Then what do we talk about? We talk about value. How can we add value to a customer is what we are trying to focus on. And this is what we are trying to build in our sales employees, that ability, that competence to talk to the customer. And again, as rightly said by one of the panelists, and I'm using the data and the inputs given by the panelists because they're on the other side. And the reason why we did what we did for the transformation is because of these things that we have seen in the market with the customers as well as with our own salespeople. Because if we take care of our salespeople, they will take care of our customers. Yeah. So what we did is, apart from giving them the training, we also have recently started investing, and I stress the word investing because yes, it's a chicken and egg story. Whether we should wait till the revenues come back to normal, or should we train our employees, and we realize it is best that we invest in our people further, because our average age of our salesperson is somewhere in, especially since I'm looking at 40 countries, especially in Europe, we have our sales force who are already in their 50s. So for them, calling was a big challenge. Yes, some of us, maybe in the audience, there are some salespeople who will agree with me that it is not the same as meeting face to face. As salespeople, most of them are used to seeing the person in flesh and blood. And for this change in the mindset, we had to train them. And that's what we are currently doing. But before that, we opened up and said, we gave a clear picture of the economic and the revenue situation of the organization to every employee. Because again, if we go back and check ourselves as employees, with a lot of news, negative news all around, saying companies are laying off people, and some of them have been very ruthless, to speak the least. The HR calling them overnight and saying, please put in your papers, from tomorrow you don't have a job. So that obviously, even if I'm investing money, and if the person is sitting in the training with that mindset, nothing is going to help. So we made things very clear. We also had in some countries a special program called Self-Realization Program. And again, we called it as SEP, where we asked them to tell us in this change scenario, what are the aspects that they want to be trained on, what are the aspects where they want to be coached on. We started a humongous project called Global Virtual Training, where we did about 45 to 50 webinars, and not only on sales, but sales was, of course, the key focus. And people enjoyed it because they got a lot of inputs, not only from our own employees, senior employees, who could give that inputs, but we also got some external resources. So again, we invested in people. So in this self actualization or self realization program, when people came back to us and told these are the areas they want to be helped in, we invested, and we are still investing. Just today morning, I'm currently in the midst of, we are doing a training program, 8 modules of 90 minutes each, where I have all the employees, I mean, many employees of India, Korea, China, and Singapore. Again, I mixed all because they can exchange the good practices, what are the difficulties they are facing. Just one example of what we tried doing for outdoor sales. After this training and coaching, we said, okay, since you cannot go and meet the customers face to face, obviously it was not safe, and safety comes first to us. Being a family driven organization with family values and safety as a key focus area, we said, why don't you call them? Yes, initially there were hiccups, but still that to a great extent has also helped our people. And today we can confidently say that we will not be as bad as what we had thought with respect to our revenue. Of course, as one of the panelists rightly said, brand does help. We are known as a very quality conscious German brand, German company. So that has certainly helped. Having said that, are our sales employees not facing challenges? They are certainly facing challenges. Today morning itself, one of the guys called me and said, senior guy called me and said, Sampath, a lot of customers are not even picking my calls because they are due to pay us money. Yes, I mean, I said, you put yourself in the shoes of that person. What can he say? He's close to you. He has relationship with you. He cannot break it up overnight. So try to understand that. Let's work around. Let's look at solutions. And this is how we are not only helping our sales employees to understand their own weaknesses in the form of transformation, but also trying to put themselves in the shoes of the customer so that when the things get going well again, which I'm sure it's a matter of 6 months to 1 year max, we are again safe with our customers. So these are a few of the things that we have been doing in lab.